G-Man gang. So we're back again, week 4 of the Cable Guys. As always, I am here again with Chris Holland. Chris, what's up?
Same old, same old.
How's the house? Are you going crazy yet?
Yeah. I'm bored to tears. I've been playing like 4 or 5 hours of MLB The Show every day, trying to keep myself in the baseball mindset.
There you go. We have mentioned that before, but we do have a cable league, which has kind of fallen out a little bit, and we're trying to get more games played.
Yeah, we're trying to regenerate interest.
And then we also have a Senators League in the show, which
Correct.
also I'm 0-5 in both the leagues.
Sick.
So that's dope.
We've got a lot of games played in the Senators one, at least. The only person who hasn't played a game is Sean.
Oh, yeah. So, Reed messaged me. He's like, yeah, I want to get all my games in. Because he's, I think, done. He's just like, I want to get my games done and just not touch it again.
I think he's having fun with it.
Yeah, well, I played him last night, and I had...
Yeah, he said you stink. He's right.
What's that?
He said you stink, and he's right.
No, but it wasn't even that. I had balls. I don't know if I was lagging or he was lagging. I had balls that were hit and one hopped, and, apparently his guy got it. But on my screen, it was rolling behind him.
It looks like it skips by.
So I took another base, and then I got thrown up by a mile.
Yeah. I have that happen to me playing Diamond Dynasty all the time.
That happened to me 3 times. But,
I was playing him earlier today. He was up on me 9-6 going into the last inning. I managed to score 3 runs in the bottom of the 7th, hold him in the top of the 8th, and then hit a walk-off bomb with Acuna in the bottom of the inning. I was talking to him later on. He's like, I threw my controller across the room. I was like, good. I'm glad.
Then I had – this isn't the show recap podcast or anything, but I had another one where it was I had 2 fly balls to the warning track. One was going to hit the wall, but 4 feet off the wall where my guy could catch it, and he was standing at the wall and then just slid farther away from the wall as the ball was coming. I was like, just catch it.
Yeah.
The other one hit him and fell on the ground. I was like, what is happening?
This is your fault for setting the hitting difficulty to veteran.
Yeah, whatever. But yeah. So we've been trying to do that. I know you bought a tee and a net.
Boy, did I.
Are you getting some tee work in?
I'm trying, but having the dog now, every time I go outside, he wants to come outside, and he loves to hang around me, so I can't be swinging a bat, or he's going to take one in the teeth, and I'm going to get yelled at.
So I know he made his – actually, that might have been in the Lost episode with Corey.
It was.
Where he made his debut. So you and Kate picked up a dog in this quarantine just because you guys are going to be home?
Yeah, we've been wanting to have one, so we figured now while we're home, working from home is the best time to do it, get him acclimated to the house, get him acclimated to us, and culture shock him when we go back to work.
Is he sitting right there?
No, he's out with Kate. I closed the door so he can come in here and bark.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So if he gets up behind me on this window and looks outside and sees somebody walking by, he's going to go bananas. Oh, yeah.
So actually that's one of the, I guess one of the better things that have come out of this whole thing, that a lot of the shelters and everything are empty now.
Yeah. I think
that's just going and picking up dogs.
Yeah, it's a good time to do it. I think a lot of people are fostering now, which is great, but we decided we wanted a dog, and Charlie was the right fit.
There you go. So the reason we kind of jump into all this stuff is because with the quarantine, we always want to give you league updates, and the league updates for this week are nothing.
Yeah,
there's
no
nothing
new
going
news.
on.
We were supposed to have a managers meeting this week, but with no new news to share, we pushed it back 2 weeks. So
yeah,
that'll happen on the 23rd, I believe.
What was the next manager meeting?
The next managers meeting will be later this month. I think it's on the 23rd.
All right, so we got really nothing else to share. I know that we mentioned before that we had a person close to the Senators that was dealing with the coronavirus. They actually are home now.
Yeah.
So things have gone well. The Senators raised a bit of money to try and just help offset some costs that are going to be coming up. So it's great to hear that they're home, back, getting healthy again. And going to be chasing down some fly balls for us when season comes. So that's – what's that?
If the season comes.
I know. I can't. I was saying this before. I'm at the point where just my glove is sitting next to my desk, and I'll just be sitting here all right, guys, I need to do something. My bat was in here the other day.
Yeah, my bat bag's sitting in our dining room. Every time I walk by, I'm playing with the grips on my bat because it's starting to fall off. I'm like, oh, no, we need you to be perfect. I actually said to my wife today, I said, at least if the season gets canceled, I've got bats to use for next year. I don't have to go about and buy new bats. I won't have to buy new hats for the Senators, and it'll be great. But I'd rather have to do that and just play this year.
Yeah, I mean, I usually go out and buy a bat or two every year too. I haven't done it because I didn't know what was going on, so I'm kind of waiting. And
Mm-hmm.
at this point, I don't even know if I'm gonna get one,
Yep.
or maybe I will. Who knows? I mean, I did just make a purchase. We both got microphones that we're gonna be able to use
I
for
will
this.
be getting a microphone. Haven't actually purchased it yet.
I purchased a microphone that we're gonna be able to use, so we can call some games when the season comes up, and we'll make the audio of this thing a little bit better. What I did want to use the beginning part of here, though, to ask is for some audience opinion. I know we're not going to get it back right away, but if you could reach out any way you can. I mean, I know Nick Bennett's been great putting these up on the Facebook page.
Yep.
We have a Twitter account. Do you remember the handle at all? I know you said it before.
I think it's just at the Cable Guys.
So we have that. Give us a follow there. You can let us know on there.
Message us on Facebook or our own Twitter accounts, which are listed on the Cable Guy Twitter account. I think
exactly. I've been toying with the idea of just making a Cable Guys Facebook page too, so we can do that. Huh?
Why not?
Yeah, right. And then on YouTube, you can always leave a comment on the video because that's where we post these. Because what I actually want to know is, I know a lot of people have been listening and the views and everything have been going up. I know with Corey last week, it was tough because, I mean, it was just a red screen basically the whole time with our conversation with Corey, where at least we got it out and we were on the second try and able to do that.
Before you go any further there, you want to explain why we didn't have a video?
Didn't I say it already? No, I put a little apology beforehand. I explained why.
Oh, okay.
So everyone knows. I messed it up. I deleted it by accident.
Yeah.
So I want to know if you guys are comfortable listening to it like this, where you have the video and everything like that. I know it drains battery, especially out if you're driving, maybe delivering packages or delivering dairy products or anything like that, because we know a few people do that for us. Or if you would want us to put it in a podcast format, where basically this is a podcast format. It's just we do the video too. If we were to do that, we would release the video anyway, because
why not?
I was going to say I'm getting better at editing these videos together, but I mean, last week doesn't show that. The video part of it's easier to put together than the audio aspect of it. But the first episode, we did go through the whole audio aspect just to make it as a podcast and put it out there. The reason I'm asking, though, is because I don't want to do it if people aren't going to listen to it as a podcast, and they would just rather the video, because we're going to have to spend a little bit of money on it. So definitely reach out. Let us know either way. Like Chris said, through our personal Facebooks or Twitters, through the Cable Guys Twitter. I'll make a Cable Guy Facebook page.
Hell, even the Senators Twitter or Facebook page works too.
We'll see. Any way you can reach out to us and let us know what your thoughts are would be helpful and appreciated. And then, I mean, we want to make this as good for you guys as it is a distraction from the quarantine life for us. So we'll do anything we can. We created a Twitch channel so you can see how terrible I am at the show if you want.
It's pretty terrible, folks.
So when we play at least Senators games, I'll stream those on there, and you can again see how terrible I am. But I also created in the show a Senators team in a franchise mode where I took the Marlins and then just changed all the people to make them us. And
he may have over-exaggerated how good a few of our guys are.
First off, you made them with me. And
I was not paying very much attention.
So we would have over-exaggerated, because Adam Simpson, for us, I played a game with him the other day. He went 5 for 5, hit 3 home runs. So we might have to change that a little bit. But Chris still doesn't have a home run, so that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, at least that's true to life.
And I have a home run, so that's accurate. So I'm a better hitter than you, is essentially what it comes down to.
Sure. I guess that's one way to measure it.
As long as it's not the month of June. All right, so that's out of the way. Keep an eye out for those. Again, we have a golf tournament coming up in October. We haven't really done too much with that because of everything going on right now. We kind of figured get this passed and make sure everyone's okay with it first, and then kind of move on from there. So more information on that will be out. If you're a golfer, reach out. Let me know if you want to foursome or anything like that. We can pencil you in. And yeah, so what we're going to be doing today is continuing with our team overviews. As a guest, we have Brian.
Weber.
I wanted to say Burke there for a second because
Yep.
we were just talking about Burke before. But we have
Yep.
Brian Weber on for the Canton Royals. We have a pretty well documented past with them. We've met where they're in the South with us, so we see them several times throughout the year. And then we've met with them a few times in the playoffs, and they've gotten the best of us a few times in the playoffs.
I think if you include scrimmages, we've played them 12 times since we entered the league. We haven't played
In
any
3 years?
team more than 7.
In 3 years?
Yep.
Wow.
Because the first year we were in the league, we played them 3 times, 2 regular season, once in the playoffs. Our second year, we played our 2 regular season games with them and then a 3-game playoff series. Last year, we played our 3 regular season games against them, plus we've scrimmaged them in the past. So we're pretty familiar with the Royals at this point.
But it is going to be interesting. I know generally what we do is we do the interview and then we come back and do the beginning. This time we haven't. We started first, and then we're going to get to Brian in a minute. But I'm assuming it's going to be a great talk. I mean, we've have history with Brian, so it's going to be. I mean, all the guys in the team, I have no problem with any of them. So I mean, that'll be a good talk and good interview. And then what we're going to get to now is we're going to talk about the Newton Dodgers. We actually reached out to a few of them, see if they had some time to get on. We didn't really hear back.
That's probably my fault. I didn't reach out until this morning. Didn't really give them a whole lot of time. But
you said you reached out on Thursday.
I said I was going to. Things slipped through the cracks, Pat.
Chris. But so I know I was going to say I know it was kind of last second. We moved some things around because we wanted to get a few teams on the show together. So we're trying to line that up for next week. So I mean, we also have pretty good experience with the Dodgers, especially last year.
Yeah, four times last year.
Yeah, we placed them in the doubleheader relatively early in the year.
Yeah, mid-June or so.
Where was that? It was a weird.
It was in Newton, Wabin. So I think it was in Wabin, which I think is a section of Newton. But I just remember it being a brutally hot day, and I had to catch a game.
Not only that, but the one thing that sticks out at me about that field was that the backstop was
overhung the plate. It was the best place to catch because if there was a pass ball, I didn't have to go very far.
If there was a pass ball, you just picked it up.
Yeah, pretty much.
But there were some times where, like, if you know how generally you can hit like a foul ball straight up and the catcher can kind of turn around and possibly catch it. That wasn't an option because the backstop overhung the plate. So if you hit it straight up, hi Kate. If you hit it straight up, you're hitting the fence.
Yep.
And that was kind of weird. And then there's a soccer field out in the outfield and no fence and everything like that. But the field itself wasn't terrible. It wasn't.
No, we've played on worse.
Terrible. Yeah,
we've played on worse.
Yeah, but it definitely was an interesting doubleheader. That was actually
we turned a triple play in the first game.
Did we?
Yeah, remember we got an interference call after we had talked to the umpire about it earlier.
Oh, yeah.
The interference call, and then we doubled the guy or backpicked the guy at third for the triple play.
Yeah, because wasn't it a grounder to second, and they came to me.
Yep.
And
the guy standing to second base with his hands up.
So I pumped the throw, didn't throw it, and then backpicked the guy at third.
No, you still threw to first. You threw around him because earlier in the game, the umpire had told us,
"Oh yeah,
only going to call obstruction if you throw the ball." So you threw it. They called the guy out at first, and I grabbed it and fired it across the diamond to a tee, and we backpicked the guy at third.
So I do remember that. It was threw a blooper across the diamond.
I'm pretty sure I didn't reach him. He had to pick it.
So that's what happened. It was a ground ball to second, flipped to me at short. I came across, and we did have that. That's when I know we had the conversation with Corey last week of being personable and everything with the umpire. Yeah. We had that conversation with him before.
We had it very civilly earlier in the game too, because we had the same situation. Guy came in standing to second. You didn't throw the ball. You just held on to it. So I went over to him and said,
I didn't think I was going to get him. That's also why I held on to it. But
I understand.
We both started talking to him. We're like, hey, like, he didn't slide at second. He
can we ask the plate guy for an opinion? He's like, we can ask. He's like, you didn't throw it though, so it's not going to be an out, but I'll keep an eye on it later in the game. He said, okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, we both walked away. We were like, okay, no worries.
Yep.
We both knew the rule is you don't have to throw it.
No, I think you do. I think you have to make the attempt at first base.
From my understanding, I thought it was you don't have to throw it. If he doesn't slide, it's a like, because I know we were saying, like, I could have easily said, like, I didn't want to hurt the guy, I didn't throw it, but obviously I didn't throw it because I didn't think I was going to get the guy out.
Yeah, the next time you had no chance either. The guy beat it by like 3 or 4 steps.
But I knew we had that conversation, so I threw it.
Yep. That pays off.
So that was interesting, and then that guy rounded third hard, and we threw behind him and got it there. But that doubleheader was the first games that Hunter played with us too, right? My brother.
Yep.
That's because that's what I'm remembering too. That he showed up, he ended up having to play, and ended up playing the rest of the year.
Yeah, made every game for the rest of the year
because we wanted to get him playoff eligible. We only had 11 games left.
Yep.
So that was interesting. We had some bombs in that game too, with no fence that just kind of rolled in the gap and went forever.
Yep.
You had one, right?
Yeah, I crushed one to right field. That I was rounding first base, and I looked at our first base coach as I was running. He said, "Holy crap, I'm going to get a triple!" I said, "I'm going to get a triple," and then the ball hit the ground and just died in the grass. I'm like, "No, I'm only going to get a triple."
You know what I did that game?
You hit a triple.
Did I?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, I thought I went 0 for 8 because
no, you had a triple.
Nice. And then what else I do?
Then you probably went 0 for.
Probably nothing.
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
Collier had his first hit in that game, though.
Did he?
Yep. That's when he had more hits than you in the month of June until you hit a triple.
Then I got up and I was like, fuck you, everyone. Yeah. I need to start getting better with like remembering what happened in games and everything like that because
no, you don't. But it's perfectly normal that you don't remember it. It's abnormal that I remember this stuff too clearly.
That's fair. And then we played them later in the year. We had a night game in Duxbury. No,
yep. Duxbury.
It wasn't Duxbury.
Yep, Chandler Field.
Oh, was that Chandler? Okay. Which was an interesting.
It was a weird
chain
night.
Of events. So
first of all, we couldn't get the lights on. We had nobody there to turn the lights on for us. So the game was supposed to start at 7:45. I think we ended up starting about 8:15, 8:20. They finally got somebody down there.
Which is bonkers because I think you only get like 10, 15 minutes, right? Like
yeah, we were lucky.
Way too long.
Yeah, the umpires were nice enough to stick around and deal with the bullshit that we were creating, but whatever it was. Then we finally got the game going, and we were throwing Zach Simpson, who was our third or fourth pitcher on the team. It's because I think Jason was on his honeymoon, Christian was hurt, and Jake had just pitched a couple of days prior. So we're like, all right, we're running low on depth here. Zach ended up throwing a pretty good game. We were facing Colatino for the second time. He was dealing. Honestly, we were in trouble in that game until Brandon Linton, playing third base, took a ground ball off the eye and had to be taken away by ambulance, which extended the game even later into the night. But he had to get taken away in an ambulance, and they only had 8 guys left, so they had to play with 8 for the rest of the game. So we just started blooping balls into center field where there was nobody.
Deegan.
Yeah, Deegan
just started stroking.
Oh yeah, but I think we would have lost that game if they had 9 for the entire thing. But.
Yeah, and I mean the 2 people that stood out in that game to me at least were Linton, the third baseman. Kid was hitting the ball pretty well, and he's fast.
Yep.
And their catcher.
Cam Plank, yeah, he's going to be playing for the Rebels this year, I think. Mustangs. He's going to be playing for the Mustangs up in the north.
How do you know that, Chris?
Well, he was in the free agent pool, and I tried to recruit him, and he's going elsewhere.
Oh,
it's fine. We've got –
wasn't his college coach placing him in a league or something?
That's what I had heard, but we'll leave that story for another day.
Right.
I mean, he was good, so we tried to recruit him to catch for us, but he's going elsewhere, which is fine. We already have a damn good catcher in Cam Deegan, pretty good backup in Hunter, and we'll see if my brother's around this summer. He's a pretty good defensive catcher, can fill in back there too. Yeah,
well, I mean, Kyle was never expected to be around this summer, so with the quarantine, he ended up coming home, and we're hopefully going to – I was talking to him the other night after you got off PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully he's going to be able to come to a few games. He's in for Cooperstown now if that's still going on. So we're gonna have – if we went from a team of not having a catcher and then finding one in Cleary the first year, and now we have 3 – I would say possibly 4, but we're not going to include the 4th one as a catcher here. He's our outfielder.
Yeah, big time. I'm the fourth catcher.
Yeah, and it's definitely not me anymore.
Yeah. That's okay.
Which is fine.
So instead of continuing to preview ourselves, maybe we should get back to the Dodgers.
That's what I was getting to.
Okay.
So, but then we also face them in the playoffs.
I'll let you handle that one. I was on my honeymoon.
So, but you know this whole thing about I'm not good at remembering games and everything.
Colatino dealt, we lost.
Yeah, that's basically what it came down to.
We scored 1 run on an Adam Simpson nuke from what I heard. But
so Here's what happened. That ball that he hit for a home run was the farthest hit ball I've ever seen in my entire life. In person, at least. In person.
Outside of a major league game, I'm sure.
Yes. Like, but even the major league games that I've gone to where there have been home runs, it still was not hit as far as this.
Jesus Christ.
This ball, we were playing at World Series. Adam's a lefty. So he hit this ball to right center. And it hit probably halfway to three-quarters, halfway up on the trees that are in right center field.
Jesus Christ.
It was a bomb.
So like I said, I was on my honeymoon for this game, and we use the Game Changer app on our phones to keep score, which can give live updates to anybody who has the app and follows the team. So I was sitting poolside in St. Lucia, drinking a good amount of tequila sunrises, watching this game, and the Game Changer kept like crapping in and out because the Wi-Fi wasn't great down there. And but I saw the run go up on the board. I'm like, oh sweet, how'd we score? And I saw Adam hit a home run. And I texted him, went, "Fuck yeah, let's go!" And he texted me back. And he texted me back immediately. He goes, "Let's go, baby!" I'm like, "Shouldn't you be focusing on the game?"
I thought it was from Trisha. He had to answer it.
Yeah, probably.
So yeah, I mean, the game wasn't all that memorable. I mean, it was a generic few run game that we had. Who was pitching? Jason was going for us. We ended up having Marcia Salt out and right. There was a few times where I went to Jake and I was like, "Hey, if he gets into trouble, you're going to come in." And I Bobby Valentined it, and I just let Jason keep going. And Jake was like, "I mean, no, you're good, man." He kept dealing. He was fine. Like they were getting some blue pits, and they were just falling in. Yeah. And then your boy here made the last out, fouling out to right field to end the game.
And the season.
Yeah.
So, yeah, moving on. The Dodgers.
But one thing that was big with them last year, they did have a change of management moving on into this year. It actually, I think, happened during the season last year.
I think it was kind of a transition as the season went.
Yeah, where at one point, I think we were talking to them after the game in Duxbury. I was at least talking to Dan and a few guys in the parking lot, where they were going through a change of who was going to take over and what was going to happen, and they were kind of up in the air of what was going on. But moving forward this year, they have kind of two guys that stepped up to the plate who are going baseball term, step up to the plate. So good at that. So they had two guys that kind of stepped up to the plate here, and Dan Turner and Ivan Torres. They're going to be taking over, manning the helm down there in Newton. And from my encounters with them, great guys, very personable. You can talk to them. They're pretty good. And I know Dan ended up last year hitting 346 for them. Ivan looks like he had a little bit of a struggle. He had 244, which I mean isn't terrible. But I mean, they're taking over. They're going to be moving forward. We talked about Brandon Linton for them, hit 378. They also had a guy that hit 700 with 10 at bats. So he had
solid sample size.
What's that?
It's solid sample size.
Is that Charlie?
Yeah, he's trying to take my computer charger with him.
Maybe he's tired. He needs to get some energy.
He did just get back from a walk.
There you go. And then a few other guys that kind of jumped out there. But the biggest thing is they definitely are carried by Colantino. He's the ace of their staff.
Pitches a million innings for them. He wins a lot of ball games. He doesn't throw overwhelmingly hard, but he throws the ball pretty well, and he's got a damn good curveball to boot.
So I do remember Colantino because we faced him 3 times last year.
We should.
But the other pitcher that they had in their first game was their original manager, right?
Correct, Jeff Hall.
Jeff Hall. And I could not hit this kid at all. And I think we all struggled hitting him because he threw about 30 miles an hour.
I didn't, but sure.
But, like, you're always an outlier.
He threw slow. He throws knuckleballs. He throws curveballs. Doesn't really throw fast.
I didn't even think that.
He was throwing knuckleballs.
I just remember, being way off balance. He pitched the first game.
Yep.
And then Colantino came in and was throwing probably low 80s.
Yeah, it was about a 30-mile-an-hour jump, and it was tough to
adjust. We were like, what is happening right now?
Yeah.
It's like two different sports.
Yep.
It's like go from playing slow pitch softball to then playing baseball.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. But I do think they have a core group of guys that they have coming back. I honestly don't know too much about them.
I mean, from what I understand, a lot of these guys have been playing on this team since they were they were in the Royal Rooters League back in the.
And then they went to somewhere else and came back, right?
Yeah, they were in the Royal Rooters League in the, I don't know, early 2010s, I think. Then they switched over to the MABL, where they became I think they were the Red Sox before switching to the Dodgers. And then last year they came back to join us in the CABL. But I think a lot of these guys that are on the team have been with them since they were back in the Royal Rooters League. So they've got a core group of guys that's been around for a while, jumped for a couple of different leagues, name changes. But guys like TK Skandarian, Rudy Hirsch, those are guys that have been with them for a long time, I think. I think Ivan's been with them for a while now. Brandon, I think, has been with them for a while now. I don't know much about Colantino's past or where he started, but you're right. They're going to have to ride with him. He's going to be their guy that's going to – if they're going to win ball games, they're going to be on the arm of Garrett Colantino. And he's probably going to throw a ton of innings for them again this year.
Which in a league like this, having two pitchers who are good is great because you're playing about 2 games a week. But if you have one stud ace, you're still going to be in every game. You're going to go out there and you're going to be like, well, we'll most likely win 1 game a week, and then hopefully we can scrap together something else in that other game and get something there. Are you okay?
I broke my bottle.
Oh. Swallow.
Sorry. Continue. No. Yeah, that's kind of what we were talking about with Corey last week with pitching. You have every team's got to have at least 2 starting pitchers. That's bare minimum because you might play 2 games a week. Sometimes you don't. I won't say most times you do, but sometimes you do. Sometimes you don't. So you have 2 starters that can go out there and be competitive. That's great. You've got one that's a stud like we have with Earhart or like we're going to talk about later with the Royals had in Burke and. But, I mean, you have a guy like that, and that's a guy that's pretty much going to guarantee that you're going to win 8 or 9 games if he gets enough starts.
Yeah.
If you've got 3 starters, 4 starters, guys that can give you innings, that's huge because guys go on vacation, guys miss games for weddings, guys miss games for whatever reason, and you just have to have depth on the mound. So I think that might be where the Dodgers could potentially struggle. If Colantino, for whatever reason, has to miss a couple of games or, God forbid, gets hurt or something, I think that puts them in trouble. Their pitching depth isn't exactly the Weymouth Cubs.
Yeah. And I mean, just looking at it from last year, they only had 6 people who pitched for them.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was Dan, who only threw an inning. One of them was TK Skandarian, who threw 2 2/3 innings. And then everyone else for them almost threw 20 innings. So, I mean, they definitely have their designated pitchers. But like you said, I think Colantino is obviously their ace and their guy.
How many innings did he end up throwing last year?
Colantino?
Yeah.
What do you want to put for a guess?
I think he was around 70, if I remember correctly.
71 2/3.
Yeah. Crazy.
And with a 3.03 ERA.
I'm surprised it was that high.
He had 70 Ks, allowed 1 home run, and allowed 67 hits.
Yeah, that number's higher than I thought it would be, but
67 hits or the ERA?
No, the ERA.
Yeah, I mean, so he's good. He throws hard, but he is hittable if you have a good team. If you're someone like the Senators who just can't hit anyone that throws remotely hard, you're going to struggle.
To be fair, we beat him twice. We just didn't beat him when we needed to.
Yeah. And I think we had some help in those games. There were definitely some errors and then they only had eight guys and everything like that. But that's general things that happen in men's league baseball.
Yep.
But what you were saying before with we have our ace, we have Jason. Yeah, we have Jason, but if you look at the numbers and everything, Christian is right next to him.
Oh yeah.
And then even Jake, he's a good solid number 2 probably, but we have Christian.
Quite honestly, if Jake builds up to a season and throws a lot, and I think pitches with more consistency, he's going to be a stud in this league.
Mm-hmm.
Last year we didn't get him into games consistently.
He fished too much.
Huh? Yeah,
he went up fishing too much.
He was kind of our number 3. It's like, hey, if Christian or Jason can't go, it's you. But after Christian got hurt, he pitched a lot more. But it was he wasn't stretched out. He'd go 4 innings and get tired, and start to fall apart a little bit. He had one complete game win against the Royals, but even that, he gave up 5 runs, and a couple of those were like 3 of those runs were on a home run later in the game because he got tired and probably left a pitch over the middle of the plate to Phil Perez, which you shouldn't do. But
we'll definitely get to that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's really all I have. Other than that, everyone's just trying to get by, basically. We're trying to survive without baseball. That's why we kept talking about the league so much. I haven't left my apartment, basically, except walking the dog, and I haven't even done that much. My girlfriend's been great, and she's been doing it while I'm working. And I went to start my car to go to the store today, and my car wouldn't start.
Sick.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just, again, hope everyone's out there staying safe, doing what they should be. We know a lot of jobs that have been said that they can only do things on site are now being able to be done from home, which is great. And if you have one of those jobs, we definitely urge you to stay home just to hopefully get this thing over with and have everyone stay safe, and so we can get it back on the field quicker. If you do have one of those jobs where you're out delivering dairy or mail for everyone, so I can get my microphone quicker, Terrio, if you just hear of anything like that, please let us know. We hope you are also staying safe out there. And if you have anyone in the medical field, definitely remain calm with them. I'm sure they've been pretty stressed and everything like that. And we just want everyone to get through this so we can get back on the field and all of our fan can come and watch us.
Yeah. And
that's basically all I have. I mean, if you have anything else we can talk about while we still wait for Brian to drop off his daughter.
I mean, the only thing I was thinking about, I was talking to my brother the other day about some of the fields that we have in the league, both good and bad. I think that's kind of an underrated part of our league. I think we talk about it within our league, but we've got some damn good fields that we play on.
Yeah. Well,
I know this is a very, random topic to be bringing up at the moment, but I was talking to my brother about it the other day. From the time that we joined the league, the field situation has just gotten better. Although there's one field that I miss, which is Nissitissit up in Pepperell, which I know you never played there, but it was basically, it felt like the Field of Dreams field because it's this middle school in Pepperell, which is in bumfuck Massachusetts, and basically drive to the school. It's down behind the school, and it's just surrounded by woods. There's no fence, but the woods are at 330 feet all the way around, so it looks like it's a baseball field, and it looks like a baseball fence. I don't know. There's something about that field that was really cool. But I remember we played our second week that we ever in the league. We played the old Brookline Dodgers up in Salem at Palmer Cove, and that field was a piece of shit. Last year we played.
I don't remember this one.
It was not memorable. I remember the Dodgers got locked out of their dugout and couldn't use that, so they were sitting down the.
Oh yeah. They were sitting on the picnic benches.
Yes.
Because we got to the field early and we took the other dugout because we noticed it was locked.
I gave them the option. I said, "Hey, which side do you want to sit on? You guys are the home team." And they're like, "Oh, we'll take first base." I said, "Okay." But then last year we played the Gators up at Gage Field in Lowell, which was terrible.
That was a very interesting game too.
Yeah, it was. I
hit a guy in the head.
Yeah. We had our third baseman get hit in the face. That was sick. And we played. We have Marcelo Field in Roxbury, which is kind of a piece of shit, but it's a good league field for us to be able to use when we need to. But then we've got some really nice fields in the league too. You look up in
going back to Marcelo though is actually pretty interesting. We've never been a home team there, have we? I think last year we might have been, but I would assume you would lose so many baseballs there.
Yeah, because I think we must have been. I think we played a doubleheader against the Pirates there our first year, so we were definitely home one game. But
because out in foul territory on the third base line, you have it's like a DPW area, and then on the right field line, a few feet off is a street, and then apartments across the street, and the backstop's not really right on top of you, so foul balls just go over there, and I'm not going to get those balls.
No.
Because I'm not.
You got a ball in a bunch of
the field. And if it goes into the apartment buildings, one of the kids usually takes it and keeps it.
Yep, they're out there real quick.
So that's definitely.
I don't want to focus on the crappy fields. We've got some really nice fields too. I think the nicest natural surface that we play on in the league is far and away World Series Park. I think I don't think that many people are going to disagree with that. But.
So I think World Series is good. I think Bob does a great job taking care of it, and you definitely can tell that he cares and everything about it. I mean, there are signs out there that says you can't go in the infield until the game starts.
Correct.
So he definitely cares and everything. I do think the field is even in the summer, I feel like it's wet a lot. So it gets very swampy in the outfield.
That's fair.
And then I think the grass is way too long.
It is, but my point being the ball, the hops true there, the dirt is nicely even.
Oh, yeah.
That's that's what I'm looking for in a field, because we get too many where you get crap hops, crazy hops that are dangerous, quite frankly. But.
Don't like, I would say take that with a grain of salt when I say that. Like, obviously I want the ball to bounce right and everything the way that it should. I just get frustrated when I hit my hard hit grounder through the hole and it just stops and the shortstop picks it up. And I was like, come on. And I mean, I was playing center field in there. I think it was last year. And it was a ball hitting the gap, and I'm running for it, and it embedded in the ground.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
that definitely happens.
But other than that, I mean, the field is great.
Yeah.
And then Frazier.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Saugus is definitely the nicest natural surface, and then we've got Frazier that has the turf infield. But it's just cool.
Is it a grass outfield?
Yeah. It's just cool to play there because it's a stadium. I mean,
yeah.
How often do we get to play inside of an actual stadium? That's
every home game.
It's true. We do a kind of stadium. But
come down to Plymouth. It's dope.
It's just a cool place to play because it holds, I don't know, 1,500 to 2,000 people, I would assume. Obviously, we don't draw those crowds, but it's still cool to play in that atmosphere. I know that the one of the new Lowell teams this year got Holman Stadium up in Nashville to play a couple of home games at. It's pretty cool.
There you go. But I mean, we do play on good fields, and we lost a player for good fields.
No, true. Yes.
Yeah. We had
because we had
2 years ago though, right?
Yeah.
We had a player that was playing on the Cardinals, wasn't gonna play with us. Came up to our first scrimmage, saw the field that we were playing on at the time because we've moved around trying to find the best field, and then heard that the Giants were playing on Frazier and was like, later.
Didn't tell us he was leaving, and
forged text messages.
Yeah, that was a whole thing.
That was funny.
Maybe we'll tell that story later. And even on the South Shore, we've got Libby over in Weymouth.
Libby's great.
All turf surface, perfect for night games. Nice lights on the field, brand new.
We played our first year there was last year, right? Or 2 years ago.
It might have gotten used in the playoffs a little bit 2 years ago, but last year was the first year I think that the league was able to use it fairly regularly.
I mean, I know the Cubs. I do want to talk about this with Brian, but I know the Cubs have some good connections within Weymouth and everything. They always chatting with, like, I don't know if it's the mayor or whatever they have.
Yeah.
So I think their connections within Weymouth are helping them get that field, and I think that's fantastic because the other field that they play on is a dump.
Yeah, it's terrible.
But I mean, I like Seaver a lot.
I love
too.
Seaver. It's perfect for us.
Yeah. I mean, it's all level. Like it's nothing bad. I mean,
it's all level.
You froze on me. Don't make me do this thing by myself.
Well, except for the left field corner.
What?
Just pause it.
No, I mean, it's fine. Like you need to repeat.
The left field corner is the only part of Seaver that's not level, is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, there's a little, but that reminds me of the old Houston Stadium in center field.
Towles Hill.
Yeah. And then there was that thread out on, I think it was Twitter, about like a Reddit post that had all those crazy diamonds and everything.
I liked the one that was it was a baseball diamond, had the baseball fence, and then when it got into like left and right center field, it just shot straight out because it went into a football stadium.
Football field, yeah.
Those dead center field's like 600 feet away.
Yeah. So that's definitely interesting. But we do play on some great fields. I think by far, like World Series, Frazier are the best, but none of the other fields are. I mean, I know we named a few that jumped out that are bad, but that's just because they jump out to us that they're bad. Like we played on Twi's fine. It's great.
Yep. Canton's pretty good.
Everything else is fine.
Using Norfolk is pretty good.
Even the field that we played on in Dedham is I mean, there's
Yeah,
no fence
Barnes.
and everything. That's fine.
Yeah.
Barnes is great.
Well, it's a temporary fence.
It's for some games, not all of them.
Yeah, I hit 2 ground rule doubles there last year. That's my power stroke.
Well, luckily, I was playing outfield there one time, and there was no fence because the ball that I caught would have been a home
It was
run.
about 450 feet away from the plate.
And then the next at bat, someone dropped one in front of me. I was like, "Yeah, well, I'm playing way too deep."
We'll take the single. That's fine.
All right, but I mean, we might be able to get into a little bit more of that with Brian when we get him on, because it's about the time where he's getting back. So we're gonna throw this on. We're gonna pause it really quick, and when we get back, we will be with Brian Weber of the Canton Royals.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool.
Welcome back, everyone. Again, we are joined by Brian Weber. Brian, how you doing tonight?
Doing all right. How you guys doing?
Oh, living the dream, man.
Yeah, pretty well.
I gotta stop saying that. I said
Yeah,
that.
that's your go-to answer every time, which is code for I'm just trying to get through the day without killing myself.
So Brian, I know we talked a little bit about before how we have quite an experienced past with the Royals, being in the South and seeing each other in the playoffs a few times. Glad to have you on. Just kind of wanted to get a background of where you guys came from, what's coming up for this year, do a little scouting report. We might not even air this, just kind of keep it for ourselves.
I think
Yeah,
Terry
absolutely.
would kill us if we don't air it. He needs something to listen to in his paper route.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the Royals actually started, I believe, in 2010. So back in the RRBL days, we had a couple players, Joe Cloutier, Jimmy Seelig, and James O'Neill. I believe they were playing for the Titans at the time, and they sort of branched off in 2010 to start their own team, and they ended up picking the Royals. And so I am friends with Jimmy Seelig from kind of back in the day, so he kind of got me into the league, and he asked me, say, you play baseball? I'm like, well, I haven't played in like 9 years. I mean, I honestly had no idea that amateur leagues really even existed, in this area. So I stopped playing shortly after high school, but he got me back into it, so I joined in 2012. Joe was the manager at the time, and he asked me to kind of be the assistant in 2013. And then Joe kind of had to take a leave of absence from the team halfway through the year. And so the team was sort of kind of dumped on me, and I'm basically running it ever since. So 2014 was my first year, running it by myself, and been doing it ever since. So we actually still have James on the team. He's one of the founding members. He's still playing for us. So, but every year we, look for new guys. We lose a handful here and there, but, since I've taken over, we've had a pretty good core that has stayed with us throughout the years. So we've been very, very lucky. But yeah, that's pretty much where we kind of came from, and we're here now. So,
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not sure how it's been since before we were in the league or anything like that, but ever since we've been here, we've always had very competitive games with you guys. You guys have always had great pitching, good fielding, and players and bats and all that stuff. Was that basically the same beforehand? Like, were you one of the top teams, or did you guys?
Yeah. So, I mean, the way this team was pitched to me when I joined was, Joe told me, look, we make the playoffs every year. We got a great group of guys, and we've tried to, continue that. And luckily we've basically been in the playoffs, pretty much every year. I think we maybe came in first place in our division once or something like that. We're always top 2 or 3, whatever it is. And like I said, I've been very fortunate because we've always had a pretty good core. So in 2014, Ryan Rattel actually reached out to me because he had just graduated from BC. He played a little time in Yawkey, but he saw, I see you're the Newton Royals, and I live in the area, wondering if you're in need for a catcher. And I was getting older at the time when I was catching. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I could actually use another catcher on this team. And so he ended up, because he played on the BC club team, he ended up bringing Micah Hernan. He ended up bringing Eddie Lockhart in. And even since then, we had a couple guys from the BC club team, like Mike McKee and Matt Bowie, who I'll get into later, I guess. So that 2014 was kind of when we first kind of built that core of guys, and a lot of them are still around. Obviously, Mike and Ryan are still here and everything. But I've always tried to kind of build our team in a way where we brought on guys who can pitch, but who are mostly pitchers. We don't have a lot of two-way players on our team. For some reason, I don't know how it really ended up doing this. We have guys who mainly pitch, and we have guys who can hit, because I want to try and build a bigger roster, because as everybody it's hard to keep, the same 15 guys coming every single week. And
had that conversation on here a few times.
Yeah, we're all too familiar with that.
Right. And it's worked out pretty well for us. I mean, we've had a lot of great pitchers on this team over the years. So I've been, again, like I said, I've been very fortunate with the guys that we've had so far.
Yeah. I mean, even those names that you've kind of brought up, or like Mike and Ryan and everything, and Bowie and things like that, like those are your guys. That's obviously your core for moving forward.
Yeah.
I didn't know much about Bowie until last year, but I know he had a great year on the mound last year. Mike's obviously a 3-time MVP.
Yeah.
Ryan's been in the All-Star game pretty consistently. It's good core guys.
Yeah. So, I mean, when Mike came on in 2014, it was just like, he's fastest guy in the league, stole 30 bases, led the league in hits and runs. He hits close to 500 every year. It's just, such a dynamic, guy, on the field, and catches every ball in the outfield. It's nuts. So I don't know if there's another in this league that can really impact the game like he does. It's just, we've been very fortunate to have him. And yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of great, individual awards to go along. Like I said, 3-time MVP. He was, I think, MVP of the All-Star game one year and all that stuff. And Ryan is, he's been a great catcher for us. He's very smart, calls a great game, keeps everybody involved. A lot of, some catchers kind of just sit back there and just catch. I mean, he's always involved in everything, yelling out to everybody. I think he's currently, I believe, the CABL RBI all-time leader or something like that. So he's been a guy that, he sits in the middle of our lineup, and guys like Mike and, we've had guys like Derek Palatino play for us. They're just very fast. They get on base. They just move around, and he's always in the right spot to just kind of drive everybody in.
My question is, why does he wear a full jersey underneath his jersey?
I really don't know.
It's a Judge jersey.
It's an Aaron Judge jersey, a button-down Yankees Aaron Judge jersey that he wears under his Royals jersey. It looks very.
Yeah, it's his thing. Everybody's got their thing, and I guess
whatever works for him.
Everyone's got their routines and stuff. Yeah. That's just one of his things.
Well, I mean, that's got to be, especially being a catcher, wearing. He doesn't wear like any compression thing like underneath that. And
I don't know if he does. I think one thing he doesn't drink water during the games for some reason. I don't know. It's just,
he just slugs beers.
I mean, I try and leg out a ground out to short, and I come back huffing and puffing. I'm like down in half my Gatorade.
Yeah. But we played you guys in Canton the day after Tom Nashawati's wedding last year. Yes. I was on second base in the first inning, and Adam Simpson hit a ball in the left field. I came around to score. I got back to the bench, and I had to sit down behind the bench and almost puked because I'm out of shape, and B, I was really hungover from the night before. But
it's a good thing that we play on Sundays. But when you got those weddings, that's tough. I've been there, man. Yeah.
And then Monday at work is always interesting. You're always like going to sit down in your chair and like, ooh.
Yeah. Well, that's why we always try and get our games early in the morning. I always try and get Gibson like 10 a.m. just because I feel like on Sundays, guys don't want to be sitting around. I feel like you waste the entire day. If you got a game scheduled at 4, you can't, really do anything, and, you can't hang out and drink and grill or whatever. It's just like, get the game done, hit up the bar after or whatever, or head home, relax in your AC, and just relax the rest of the day and get ready on Monday.
I like that too. When we played you guys in Canton, I think it was last year on that day, didn't we go to the halfway cafe after that?
Turnpike.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Turnpike. Yep.
So we went there afterwards. I mean, having the game in the morning, and then kind of chilling, having some lunch, and I always try and eat something healthy, and it never happens. Yeah. And then I go home and just go to sleep, and I'm just like, the day, and I love it.
I'll usually get home and the wife's like, okay, now you can cut the lawn. I'm like, sweet.
Right. Start your real chores. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But kind of going back, you were talking about Mike winning all those individual awards and everything. You did have another player on your team winning an individual award last year. Phil Perez won Rookie of the Year. He had a good breakout season. What was that like getting Phil on there?
It was awesome, man. He's a great guy. One of the nicest guys you'll ever play with. Loves to compete. Just wants to win. It's all about the team, which is great.
He's a moose too.
Swings a great bat, and he can play anywhere. I mean, he's a big guy, but he's not slow by any means. I mean, he plays a lot of corner outfield for us. He's played some corner infield for us as well. He's got a pretty good glove over at first base when we need him to. And yeah, he's been awesome to have on this team. So Brian Burke actually got him They played at Curry together. So that's how we ended up getting Phil. And yeah, he's been awesome so far, man.
Yeah.
He's great.
That is kind of what I thought happened where Burke kind of brought him in because I actually worked with Phil. He got a new job recently, but back at his old and we worked together a little bit. So it was definitely interesting going to work Monday and be like, "Hey man, how'd you guys do? Like, what was it?"
Yeah.
We'd always kill
That's
it.
awesome. Yeah. Yeah. I used to work with Anthony Tempesta when he was at EY for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
We worked on different floors, but every now and then I would just take the elevator down, just walk over to the desk, and be like, "Hey, so how'd the game go on Sunday?" Work with somebody else and talk to them about the game, and yeah.
But there is one thing I have to say about Curry. You need to stop dipping into that pool because I see on your roster you have my cousin on there from last year, Dave Griffin.
Yeah, so
I'm pretty upset
that was
with that
kind of a big tease for us because I know that both our teams were kind of trying to get him, and I don't know what Brian Burke did, but somehow he got him to kind of commit to us. And I remember I was in Chicago with my girlfriend, and Dave texted me. He's like, "All right, man, I'm in. Like, I just got let go off this indie team. Like, I'm driving back, and I'll see you guys soon." I'm like, "All right, awesome. Here's the player waiver. I'll add you to the roster." Like,
you were supposed to pitch against us that week.
Yeah. and like 2 days later, he texted me, "Hey, I'm really sorry. I just got another call. I'm driving. I was on my way home, but I'm now driving up to Canada. I don't even know where he was
Gary,
going."
Indiana.
Yeah, so he's like, "I'm heading back, and I got offered another spot." So I'm like, "Oh, all right, that's okay." But it is what it is. You got to just roll with it, and you miss out on a guy like that, you just got to keep an eye out for the next one.
Exactly. Well, then the next one, it looks like it was Kevin Jones. Do you have him on your roster for this year too?
So he was gonna play, and then he's another guy that kind of backed out. I think he had
the same thing for us twice.
It's just yeah, we had it happened to us. It's happened to us a couple times over the years. You get guys that kind of commit, and then oh, I got a new job. I'm gonna be traveling more. I can't really commit. And that's kind of what happened with a couple guys from last year. I mean, we had some pretty good players from last year come on for the first time, and late November, December, I'm starting to ask guys like, "All right, guys, like, you coming back next year or what?" And sometime around Christmas, I had like 5 or 6 guys just come out and say, "Oh, I'm not going to be there," and reasons varied. I think one thing too is a lot of these guys, and I'm sure you guys know, you've been playing baseball every summer since you were 5, 6 years old. And I think hit like your mid-20s, some guys are just like, "I'm just kind of burnt out. I want to just relax. I want to golf. I want, so I think that's kind of what happened with a few of them too. Some had some work commitments and they couldn't make it a lot last year, so they didn't want to commit again this year. I think some guys just want to take a break.
Yeah. I mean, we all know that things are more important in life than baseball. But to us right now, it feels like the most important thing. I was like, I just want to get on the diamond.
Yeah. We were, like I was saying last week on this show, we were supposed to scrimmage last Sunday. That's the date that we were going to be playing, and then we're supposed to have opening day a week from tomorrow.
Yeah,
it's very depressing to think about. But I mean, I bought myself a couple of weeks ago. I bought myself a net and a batting tee so I can use it in my backyard because I'm so bored. But
yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I have a couple new guys this year. One of them hasn't played in a couple of years. He played a little college ball in Ohio, had an injury, and he's just looking to get back into it. And I feel bad for guys like that. He's like, "All right, here we go. I'm ready to go." He's showing up to practice, and now it's we got to stop and wait till this whole thing dies down. It's pretty unfortunate.
Well, you guys had another guy coming on, George Sergey, I think is how you pronounce it. And
yeah, so
he and Pat are supposed to play for his team in the Rhode Island League.
Yeah, I heard that. So it's really funny. I went to practice one day at Extra Innings, and I came home and I went to my gym here in Canton and got my workout in. I'm leaving, and I'm getting in my car, and George and his friend Jay get out of their car. And I noticed George is wearing like some Saints baseball shirt or something like that. So I kind of rolled down my window and I was like, "Hey guys, don't think I'm weird for asking, but you guys play ball?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, like we play in this amateur league. We just moved to Canton." I'm like, "I run the team that's here in Canton." I'm like, "You guys interested in playing?" And so I was kind of like just luck of the draw, just bumping into him. And yeah, so him and Jay Recor are, I guess, they're roommates, and they play in Rhode Island. And then I heard about you a couple weeks ago. We were at practice before this whole lockdown thing happened. And he mentioned your name and said, "Oh yeah, we're going to play. He's going to play on our team for Rhode Island if that happens as well." So it's crazy. It's a small world. I mean, Pat talks about working with Phil, and then you're now playing on George's team, and it's nuts.
Well, not only that, just like running into two guys that are interested in playing baseball when you're at the gym.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a weird
Yeah.
feeling that you go to the gym.
Yeah.
I was going to ask why that can't happen to us, but we don't go to the gym.
Exactly.
This is the honestly, I've been keeping my eye out for a couple years, just randomly, just in case, and I honestly never see anybody. This is the first time, so
There you go.
lucky. But yeah, we're hoping that George and Jay, they kind of come in and fill some holes that we had. We did have a couple guys leave last year, but I think we still do kind of have our main core. I mean, you got everyone knows Micah Hearn top of the lineup, and we got Ryan coming back, and we talked about Phil and James O'Neill. Like again, he's been playing for a long time, but I mean, I think he hit close to 400 last year in his limited time, and I think he's actually out of the Army now, so he's going to be hopefully making it to more games for us. And I think we're in a pretty good spot. I do have a couple spots I still want to fill, kind of round out the roster a little bit, but I think we're still looking pretty good. And it sounds like Burke is going to be taking some time off. He says if he comes back, he still wants to play.
Sorry, man.
Fist, man. Come on, it hurts.
No, I did want to get to that because we did hear that you were having some, I don't want to say roster issues, but you did have some guys that were backing out.
Yeah, I think it was tough because it was right around the holidays, and guys aren't really thinking about baseball at that point. So trying to fill the void there with guys who are leaving, it's tough around that time of the year.
Sure.
And then you got to bring guys in. You're only hitting once a week, and all that stuff. And I think a lot of times too, a lot of our recruiting has kind of been done like word of mouth. Like I said, running into a guy like George in the parking lot is one thing, but like I mentioned, the BC club guys over the years. Once we brought in Mike and Ryan and Matt Bowie, we brought in guys like Mike McKee, and we actually have a new pitcher this year, Shane Kelly, who pitched with the BC club team. So a lot of it's kind of like word of mouth, right? Who do you know? Like who wants to play? Phil's trying to get some, like I said, the Curry guys if they're interested. But yeah, when those 5-6 guys reached out and said they're not coming back, I mean, I hit up every resource I could. I called my old AAU coach to see if he knows anybody. I was like, I know you've been coaching in Canton for like 30 years. Like, who do you know? Like anybody, So, but yeah, you got to just kind of take it in stride and just, try and rebuild when you can. I'm still pretty confident in our pitching staff right now. I mean, Bowie was, runner-up Cy Young last year, had a great season. Justin Cherry's been there since I started playing in 2012. I mean, he's not going to, throw the 7 innings that he used to anymore, but, he's still a very, very reliable pitcher, great control, hardly walks anybody. And Cormac Sullivan, another lefty, like he's always competing with Matt Bowie, in their stats, which is pretty, it's nice to have guys go toe to toe with each other. And he also had a great year on the mound. He's, probably one of the best defensive first basemen I've ever seen. So we're going to use Cormac a little bit in the field as well. He's a great base runner too. So I think, losing Burke is really tough, but you really got to kind of keep a lookout for, just the next guy, in line. And the one guy I mentioned earlier who played a little ball out in Ohio, he's mostly a middle infielder, but he said he used to pitch. And so I said, all right, why don't you just go throw on the mound for a little bit at one of our practices? And he was just right there, firing it in, and he looked really good. And Ryan and I looked at each other and we're like, we think we might have something here with him as a pitcher, So, we may end up, hopefully finding a little lightning in the bottle with that too. I mean, we'll see what happens, but, we've all been out of it for like, almost a month now. So it's kind of tough keeping loose.
With the guys that you were losing at that time, was there ever any kind of thought to folding the team, or was it always just, all right, we're going to find guys to replace them and keep going?
So I don't think I've ever really considered it because for me, I really do love this team and I love this league. And, I was going to do anything I could to make sure that we put out a team that's competitive. I didn't want to just add guys just to fill the roster and, go, 4-18 on the year. I mean, it's not fun at that point.
Still wouldn't have finished last in the South.
Fair. Yeah. And it wouldn't be fair to the guys, that have been there the whole time. So I was really going to make sure that, I kind of busted my ass and really got out there and tried to recruit hard and just hit up every resource I had. And, we're in a better spot than we were obviously in January. Like I said, we still have a couple spots to fill, but I think we're in a good spot. I had, 2 or 3 more guys, had a little college experience coming in to try out. And I had to obviously cancel all the practices because of virus thing. So I've been in touch with everybody, once, especially the tryout guys. And once this whole thing dies down, I want you back in to try out and we'll see where it goes. So I think we're in a good spot. I don't think I was ever really considering folding. It was tough, but, it was a tough, holiday break, because it was kind of a lot of stress dropped on you at that one time. But, you just got to go with it and just, move on and keep trying to recruit.
Yeah. And I mean, it's good to hear that, that you were doing anything you could in order to get those guys to come in. But I mean, in all like intents and purposes, recruiting is a whole team thing. Like you're going to need your guys to reach out to other people and see who they know too. Cause I mean, your olive branches only extend so far.
Right. Right. And I'm obviously a little bit older. So I kind of let my younger guys a little bit. I'm like, look, like you just graduated college. Like, a lot of younger guys who might have more time on their hands, guys who don't have, families still looking to play and all that stuff. Because, besides my contacts in the league, I don't have too many contacts out there. So, it's kind of like a lot of word of mouth and, trying to get, old teammates, old friends, anything you can.
Yeah, and that's something that we've been trying to do, but we've expanded our roster too. So hopefully these games that we have against you guys are going to be a little bit more competitive.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't come out on top as much as you did the previous years.
Yeah. If the season actually starts when we're hoping now on the 17th, I think we open up against you guys with a doubleheader in Canton.
Oh, jeez.
That's a hell of a way to start the year.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one for sure. Yeah, we've had a lot of really, really good games over the years. And I know that, fortunately for us, we've gotten the best of you in the playoffs last couple of times, but I feel like you guys are always right there, man. I feel like it's always, us, the Mariners, the Cubs and you guys just on top of that division and just always fighting for that top spot. And like I said, any given Sunday, man, it's just, it can happen.
Yeah. So what are your kind of thoughts about the South this year? I know you named a few of the teams, but we've talked about kind of where we think everyone's going to fall. Maybe just kind of gauge your idea. What are you thinking over there?
Yeah, Cubs team to beat, man. Defending champs. They really put a lot of work into their roster. They got a lot of really great ball players in that team. So I think they're still going to be the team to beat. I think if the Mariners kind of get their pitching staff back they had last year, they're always going to compete too. Guys test at the top, anchoring that rotation is huge for them. I think it's going to be a battle. I think, we had a lot of really close games, with a lot of the South teams last year. A lot of one-run games. So, it could swing anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just even last year we had the early game against the Cubs and playing at Libby Field. And I don't know. I think the Royals are we're cursed playing at that field for some reason. And we had a right fielder make like 3 errors in the outfield. And
we were at that game.
Yeah, we were at that game.
Yeah, we had the lead going in late, and then they had this comeback and everything, and just the ball drops one way or the other, and anything can change in a heartbeat. So there were a lot of close games. So I think it's anybody's division at that point. We'll see, how the Black Sox do, but I feel like, the 4 teams I mentioned, we're going to be fighting for that top spot.
Yeah. We basically kind of said the same thing. We definitely think the Cubs are the team to beat. And then after that, that second place, third place, fourth place are kind of all up for grabs. There is another team in the South though, but whatever. We'll get to them at some point, and we want to have Alex on to discuss that. But you guys have. I'm kind of talking in circles here, but you guys have always had a solid roster. I know you were talking about Sullivan a little bit while ago. You mainly use him out of the bullpen, though, right?
So when Sullivan started, he was kind of came on as like, look, I can give you some relief innings. Because at that point, we had Burke, we had Justin. I knew I had Bowie coming back. I was like, look, I only have so many innings to give. Yeah. Give you some starts here and there. So his first year, he definitely pitched a little bit more out of the bullpen. And last year we kind of gave him a couple starts, and he came up pretty big. He pitched, a great game against the Rockies, I believe it was. He pitched a great game, against the Mariners. So he's
I think he beat us too.
He really showed up. What was that?
I think he beat us and Dedham too.
Yeah. He pitched some really, really good games. He's another guy. He's got a pretty good baseball mind, and he's a smart pitcher. And yeah, I think him and Matt kind of going toe to toe just kind of fuels the fire a little bit between them and gives them a little, team competition and everything. And they always want to be on top, on the stats and everything. So, yeah, he's been really good so far. And like I said, he's also very good, defensively, and he's very fast. He's a very good base runner. So we used him, a lot as a kind of a pinch runner and everything. But he's hitting the cages earlier this year, so he looks great. So I'm sure he's going to get more at bats than he has the last couple of years. So we're looking forward to that too.
Yeah, and I mean, just looking at the stats here, like it definitely does look like that Bowie and Sullivan are going kind of toe to toe. I mean, Bowie ended the season with a .98 ERA, and Cormac ended with a 1.97. So I mean, just one run difference between the two, and it looks like Cormac threw like 8 less innings. So you're definitely going to need to lean on those guys. But now, forgive me if I'm wrong, but Sullivan is the guy that when he pitches, he blows the ball to the plate, right?
No, that's Eddie.
Oh, that's Eddie? Okay. Because I always get your lefties confused there. Where Eddie, when he throws, he kind of goes, and it's always like he's trying to get a little mile per hour extra on it.
Yeah. So Eddie, I believe, is one of the guys who may not be back with us this year. I actually haven't heard in a while. He was kind of on the fence. Again, a guy who's been playing baseball his whole life, and he's been with us since 2014. Kind of been, his first year he started a little bit, and then 2015 we kind of just said, like just hit the back end of the game and close it out for us. And he's kind of been our closer since then. Obviously, everyone knows doesn't blow you away, but he's another guy.
He tries to. He goes,
no pun intended.
Yeah, kind of like Justin. He doesn't walk a lot of guys. I mean, his strikeout to walk ratio. He doesn't strike out a lot of guys, but strikeout to walk ratio is pretty good because his walks are usually pretty low every year, and he's more of a contact type pitcher, but he's been really good for us over the years. And if last season was his last, I'm sorry to hear it, but we wish him all the best.
Yeah. So I mean, like we said before, definitely you've always had a good squad. Sounds like you got a good squad coming back and a few guys to fill those holes of those people that you're losing. Other than that, I mean, I think. Yeah,
I mean, like I said, I mean, we've got hopefully nobody else kind of drops out last minute, right? But we've got Mike, 3-time MVP coming back. We got the reigning Rookie of the Year. Bowie's a runner-up Cy Young. I got guys like James O'Neill. Dom Coviello has been with us since I think 2014 as well. Guy can play anywhere. He can catch. He walks a ton. Always gets on base. And then you just kind of fill it in from there. I mean, my brother Scott will be back as well. Kind of DHing most of the time. His first base, playing days might be a little bit behind him, but he did fill in last year because, last year we had a lot of guys kind of drop out, for family events and whatnot, or work. So Scott was kind of thrown back into the field, back at first base where, he played for us for so long. But he'll be back as well. We're still pretty excited about, this team. It's unfortunate we did lose, a couple key players. Like our middle infield, for example. So Brian Williams and Nico Rodriguez are no longer with us. Such a great team up the middle for us over the last 3-4 seasons. I think Nico is probably one of the best defensive players I've seen on this team. And a guy like Brian was hit for power and hit 340, 350 almost every year. Had a cannon for an arm too.
And he could move too.
He missed, but.
Yeah, and Brian was quick too. I do always remember.
Yeah, Brian stole a few bases. Yeah. Brian and guys like Ryan Rattel, they probably steal maybe 8 to 10 bases a year, but they kind of pick their spots and they're they know how to do it. Yeah.
So it looks like here Ryan had a little bit of an uptick in steals last year. He had 14.
Yeah. I mean, just he's a guy who just comes in ready to do the job every year, and he's always trying to stay in shape and get quicker and get faster and. It's just, trying to improve on different parts of your game,
It might be more steals than we had as a team last year.
Yeah. Like, where do you find these fast guys? Because we have a team full of first and third basemen who are fat, out of shape, and just can't run.
We can hit, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think we were lucky again. If Ryan didn't reach out to me in 2014, I mean, Micah Hearns may be playing for somebody else. You know what I mean? And Ryan's playing for somebody else, and then we wouldn't have a guy like we had Derek Palatino play for us, and him and Micah Hearn were a good 1-2 punch for us for 3, 4, 5 years. Derek used to steal a lot of bases as well. I mean, we've been pretty lucky and pretty fortunate. Especially with the way we kind of built this roster. Like I said, we kind of focused on guys who can really pitch, And then, we kind of try to get speed at the top and get some big guys in the middle. Again, I'm glad that we've got guys like, Phil and James O'Neill and Scott coming back, kind of fill that middle of that lineup and, to drive those guys in. We did add another guy, another middle infielder this offseason, Sam Carruthers. He played some college club ball in Virginia and then played some amateur baseball in California. And he moved here, I think 2 years ago. And he was playing Yawkey, and he said, just Yawkey's schedule just too demanding. I travel too much during the week. I'm looking for something on the weekends. I said, well, you know what? I need a shortstop. I need a second baseman, whatever. You can play middle infield. Let's see what you got. And so I think he's going to be a great addition too. He seems like a good, kind of top of the lineup type hitter. Some guy that can complement Mike and get on base with the big guys in the middle.
There you go. And that's always the recipe for success there, right?
Yeah. I mean, we've been pretty good, offensively. I feel like, every year we're, top three at least in, runs scored and hits and all that stuff, while still being able to maintain, a good pitching rotation that we kind of build around guys that may not strike out, 10, 12 guys a game, but they don't walk a lot. You don't give any free passes on this team. And, that's one thing that we pride ourselves on. We try and get a lot of guys. I mean, guys like Ryan Bowen pitched for us for like 3 years, and, he, wouldn't blow you away, but he had good movement on all of his pitches, and he didn't walk a lot of guys. So, that's one thing that we always try and do on this team is just, build the right roster.
Yeah, I actually remember when I saw Bowen on your roster one of our first years. I played with him at Framingham for a little bit, and this same thing there. He wouldn't blow it by you, but he was always like I think it was our third starter, something like that, and he would always keep it around the strike zone. He always kept you off balance. He would move the ball around, and I mean, he has good stuff, even though he's not going to just fire the ball right by you.
Right, guy's a gamer too. He just he got intense on the mounts, and that's one thing you want too. I mean, guys like him, guys like Burke, they've got this mentality on the mound. They're bulldogs, man. They just want to win, and they're really intense.
So it definitely sounds like you're going to be fine this year. We hope to have some competitive games against you. And I don't know if you remember from the other videos that have gone out, but Chris always likes to end with a trivia question for everyone, just to make sure. Man. And he has something for you here, right?
Sure. If I remember correctly, you're a Yankees fan, right, Brian? Yeah. So
you wear an Aaron Judge jersey under your jersey?
I don't.
So the day of the A-Rod Veritek fight in 2004, the Red Sox ended up winning that game with a walk-off home run in the ninth off Mariano Rivera. Do you remember who hit that home run?
It's a tough one.
No, it's not.
I'm gonna guess. I don't know. Trot Nixon.
No, it was another left. No, that's just a switch hitter. Bill Miller.
That was my next guess. Those two guys always get the best of him. Yeah.
Yeah. Bill Miller might have the highest average all time against Rivera, and I'm basing that off of those two plays
in the playoffs that year, right? Didn't he have a home run in the playoffs that year to tie the game in the game? Whatever. Yeah.
He had the tying base hit after the Dave Roberts steal.
That's what it was. Yeah.
In the middle, right?
Yep.
That was a rough year.
I thought it was a great year.
I was 12.
Yeah. I was I think I was home. And I remember like that game, I was just like throwing stuff against the wall. It was tough.
I was in 5th grade, and I remember going to school the next day, like wiping my eyes. I was like, I don't even know what's happening.
Yep.
Yeah. I think probably worse than that and I'm probably dating myself a little bit, obviously. I mean, but I was a freshman in college when they lost against Arizona in Game 7. I was actually in school in New Jersey at the time, and you can kind of hear a pin drop in my dorm because it was like kind of northern Jersey, so everyone was Yankee fans. It was just the worst night ever.
All right, Brian. Well, we appreciate having you on. Thanks for stopping by. We know things get busy over there with the family and everything like that. So we hope you stay safe and everything, and we hope to see you out in the baseball field pretty soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, Brian.
See ya.